Hello and welcome back. So we already talked about everything that's wrong with mainstream cinema, but of course it's not all negative. Today we bring you everything that has changed in mainstream cinema. A positive view on all the subjects that we covered before. We made videos about diversity deficit, the lack of women on screen, child actors and the sex cell. And even though we still need to think about these subjects, we have come a long way already. So let us prove this to you with an example, namely Bridgerton. Bridgerton is a series on Netflix. It follows the 8 siblings of the noble Bridgerton family as they navigate through London's high society in search of love, adventure and happiness. So let's go over each topic.
So the question is, does sex sell? And when it comes to Bridgerton, is yes, but it's because of how it's portrayed instead. Sex in Bridgerton is always depicted through the female gaze. So the entirety of season 2 was filled with such utter romantic tension, where our two love interests, Kate and Anthony, are stuck in a will they, won't they situation for the audience. The garden scene is finally where our two love interests have sex, thus continuing to their plot. The sexual aspect of the scene is being used as a narrative device to propel the plot forward, where the enemies to lovers arc is finally coming to an end. The reason why sex was a huge necessity here was because in the end, cinema does replicate real life and sex is a huge aspect of life. Sex only sells on Bridgerton because it moves and builds the plot rather than the audience feeling like a voyeur.
Things I could teach you.
Season 2 of Bridgerton, we are introduced to 2 British Indians and from the motherland. They brought their culture too. Bridgerton weaves culture into the narrative in a very sly way, such as the way Kate despises the English tea and make her own version of masala chai, or how Edwina gets her haldi ceremony when she is engaged to Anthony. From the bangles, the clothing with its embroidery and color, it all adds to the heritage they carry. We even got a cheeky orchestral version of Kabhi Khushi Kabhie Gham, an iconic film score of a Bollywood classic. It isn't all perfect though, because we are getting South Asian representation within the show. There are some inconsistencies with the characterizations of the Sharma sisters. Both their actresses are Tamilian when their characters are supposed to uppercast North Indians based on surname Sharma. They also mix a lot of languages in India when based in their surname. They should primarily be Hindi speakers. Examples being how Kate calls Edwina Bon, which is Bengali for sisters, and Appa, which is Tamil for father.
The series introduces a lot of women on screen and absolutely passes the Bechdel test. Yes. In the story, there are these balls for women to find a man to marry with, and all the women are expected to find their perfect match. The oldest daughter, Daphne, becomes the diamond of the season and marries the Duke. But her sister, Eloise, she doesn't want to follow her footsteps. She wants to play around the whole marriage system and wants to create her own agency, her own independence. Also, Kate is a very strong independent woman, and that is shown in scenes like, for example, when she goes horseback riding by herself. To sum it up, Bridgerton is actually about women within a heavily patriarchal society, and they are finding their own workabouts and what they actually want.
In the series, the focus is not on the children, but they are there. Let's talk about the 8 Bridgerton children and their ages. So the youngest 2, and their actors, Gregory and Hyacinth, they're 2 years older than their age on screen, which is an okay range. It makes it very believable, but it's not for everyone. Eloise, the 5th character in the role, is supposed to be 17 in the first season and 18 in the second. But when we look up her actress' age, she's in her 30s. So let's say they got it almost right.
So to conclude, Bridgerton is a very good example of cinema being inclusive, and that means that there is hope for the rest. Thank you so much for watching The Real Shit Show, and see you next time.